Hey, welcome to the Virgo Channel. All right, I'm gonna do in a long time, and I have to say, get anxiety. So again, I feel like whoever I'm gonna do a reading for gets anxiety because I always try and feel first. And Spirit says only in and out do you get divine guidance, but I'm like, you got to tell me beforehand something. So it's again, so I can try and tap in, and I feel anxiety. So we can get anxiety a lot of times when we are just, when it comes to certain things that we want, right? And the reason why is because what we want, we have an attachment to. So that's important information, especially when we're looking at shadows. So if you're new to my channel, know that even though I'm doing a reading for my winner today, you may resonate with this message again. We're magnets of who and what we're supposed to get into our lives to help us heal. And so you may say, heal through what? Well, we're all supposed to be the energy of unconditional love. However, we're born into families and societies that make us form behaviorisms and habits that block us from manifesting the life and the life experience that we want to have. So the readings that I do are a little bit different. They focus on what's blocking you from what you want, because there's a belief that you can't have what you want. And so how does that play out? Well, it plays out as karmic. And these karmic themes keep you stuck in a place of limitation, keep you stuck in a place of fear. Now, would you know what spiritual block you had? No, a lot of the spiritual blocks happen in childhood. And then what happens is that we're not aware, and then experiences play out. So the first place that we tend to look at is our relationships, right? So again, even though this is going to be a reading for Chris, if Chris shows up today, please let me know when you're here. You may resonate with this. Hey, oh, you're having trouble hearing me? Is anyone else having trouble hearing me? Or is it just Chris? Everyone. Okay, let's see. I wonder why. Hold on. Hold on a second. There we go. Say something, say something. Open loud. Open loud. Listen to me. Turn the volume all the way up, Siri. All the way up on this computer. Turn the volume all the way up. Okay, you changed it. Okay, turn the volume as far up as it can go. Hey, everyone. Thank you for coming. Chris, can you hear me? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, I want to know whether if Christopher, if they, a lot of people say that they can hear me. So if you can't hear me, then turn your volume up as loud as it can go on your, also on YouTube. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Because sometimes that's what it is. It's just a pain in the ass. It's like, oh no, I have anxiety and I have to figure this out. Breathe. So, so I was saying, like, even though this is a reading for Christopher, that what you'll notice is that birds of the feather flock together, like goes to like. We're magnets of who and what are supposed to come into our life to help us heal, to help us evolve. And so it's not a coincidence that you all wound up here, and whoever that winds up listening to this message, this is one way that the universe, which is God, tells us that we're supported, tells us that we're loved, tries to show us. See, you're only having a relationship with the universe. Everything else is a reflection of yourself, right? So when we pull people to us that hurt us, we're like, okay, I'm not that person. Why did that happen? I'm a nice person. It's like, understand that there's always a spiritual lesson to be learned. And so, and once you learn how to integrate spiritual lesson, you actually transmute that negative energy, because you can't just get rid of negative energy. You actually have to transmute it by seeing a different perception. Why? Because you're down here in physical form to learn and to manifest, and you're supposed to learn you're not separate from God through seeing your life through all different perceptions, because God is all knowing. God is the universe, it's just a consciousness. You also are have consciousness, and it's to be able to elevate to a place of unconditional love. When we have spiritual blocks, we wouldn't know that we have them. What would happen a lot of times is that we get cancer, we get sick, we have anxiety, we wind up seeing a physical imbalance. But a lot of times there is a it mirrors out within our finances, it mirrors out within our relationships. So this is why it's really important to know um, what you feel blocked in, because in order to heal it, you have to transmute it. Hello, Ellen. So I want to start. Is there any place that you would like me to look at, or would you like me to just channel? Because fear, and that's what I felt like. I feel like lessons to spiritually graduate. It's like, well, this is really what it is. It's like your lessons are karmic. And so if obviously if you're coming from a place of fear, I remember what I said before I got on. I said, I feel like you I was trying to tap into you, and it was anxiety. And anxiety that happens due to the fact of not trusting yourself, not feeling confident within yourself due to other experiences. And so when we hold on to this energy, a lot of times it's we've inherited it. So part of it is to be able to, okay, that's what I was saying. It was like I feel like you hold a vibration of like a fear when it comes to, you know, things that you want, right? Can what is dictating your energy? Because really, I look at the, and so fear tells me that there's a sense of not feeling comfortable enough, like actually in your physical body. And so, why that's important is because you're trying to manifest certain. So, if you're coming from a place of fear, obviously, it's going to seem a lot difficult. It's also going to mean that you get stuck in your mind, like you overthink. And so there's actually a disconnect from the physical body. And so when there's a disconnect from the physical body, there's a disconnect from the physical world and all the physical elements of the physical world. And then it's harder to manifest because you're holding a vibrational dissonance. So this is the energy, the underlying energy that is dictating what manifests. So it doesn't mean that things don't happen, but it's like things a lot happen and then you feel like they don't happen. They get pushed away. So never really feeling that you're able to obtain it fully. Are you following me? Do you resonate? I'm only saying because then I'm going to give you again things that you need to do in order to heal that. Because you have to transmute the negative energy. Because again, that's fear. I feel like part of it's ancestral, part of it is again also your connection to the physical body. So you are very sensitive, very creative, artistic, very so again, like so that is what makes you feel inadequate, and that will play out also within your relationships. And so there's a sense of I don't really know whether I can have it, and spirit says of course you can have it. You're me in physical form. You're like, what are you talking about? God says all you are is unconditional love. However, you're born into families and environments and go through experiences that have told you otherwise. So this tells me again the energy that's ancestral. So part of you is again is not grounded enough. Right. So that's so part of you is not grounded enough. So, when you have a root chakra imbalance, you got to see yourself differently. God's saying, I don't like the way you view yourself. God says, all I am is the universe. That's all I am. And so, and I'm the vibration of unconditional love. And I am ubiquitous. I'm everywhere. And my job is to be able to work through you, not just through gut intuition, inner knowing, but also to work again so that I can bring you everything that you need for support. So this is where you didn't see support growing up, which is again, you grew up with someone that had anxiety, someone that was again very, I feel uh very like, I'm gonna tell you how it's gonna be. And they scared you, they scared you in that. And so there's still a little bit of that energy there where you're like, again, it was just the way that I was conditioned by someone I loved. So that's really where the wound came from. And so where spirit's saying, it's like, so what has happened is support has been where you're like, oh, I'm not seeing that. And so support doesn't comes from the universe, again, bringing you everything that you need, conspiring to make a way where there is no way just for you. So it's actually an individual process, a unique process. As part of you, Christopher, that's like, I should have it already. It should be known. Where is it? And Spirit says, you have to co-create with me. And it's a natural unfoldment process. That's why in the Bible it says, be like childlike. The past trauma, what needs to be integrated, because that's not who you are. That also trauma, a lot of intuitive and creative and spiritual and again creative. Did I say that enough times? I think I said it like 10 times. Gifts. So, but to be able to create, so you have to transmute that energy. You have to realize, if we are born into family as ancestral like karma, we have to break the karma. That's the problem when you see that's on going on in the world. Too many people haven't integrated their shadow. So they project, and they're coming from a place of limitation. They're coming not from their true self, which is their higher self. The higher self is the God part of self, which is, again, when we're looking through life through the lens of unconditional love, through doing what we love. So for you, it would be to create more, to be interactive more, that play your music. That means go and be confident. Spirit, the way you view yourself, but you're not going to be able to change unless you change. So it's through the vehicles of what you love. So that's why it says, be like childlike, have no expectations, don't have any ownership. Become yourself, because I will make a way where there is no way just for you. That's God's promise to you. That's the universe. The universe says, I'll bring you everything what you need, but you have to become it. And you have to be like a child, meaning you're using vehicles that you're like, well, down by like Chippendales, like or like by the kids' diner, they need a musician, so I'm going down there and I'm playing music. It's like you're utilizing broken structures to things that you're like, okay, it's not really what I want to do, but it's like you're becoming it and you're utilizing it. So Spirit's saying you haven't made a way. So I can't recondition your body or your mind about how you perceive yourself, which is keeping you stuck. And that is what the problem is. There needs to be, you need to create the, and the balance is, again, for you are the lower chakras, which is getting into your physical body. Part of you is very, again, very intuitive, very, so helping people. You like people. There's a sense of it. You don't trust people because you don't trust yourself, because God says that's the issue. You don't trust yourself. So it's about getting a better connection to the physical body through doing yoga, through doing breath work, through doing body mind medicine. It's about being in the now. Only in the now do you get divine guidance through gut intuition, inner knowing. Spirit says, don't be reactionary. Come from the moment. Be in the moment. Be like childlike. Lose yourself in creativity, meaning be interactive. Ground yourself. Be interactive in life. Connect with people through your hobbies and interests, not through I need a relationship. into, again, I'm just trying to find me, become you. Fill your cup up all the way till it overflows, and you give whatever overflows out of your cup to the people, that environment that give you. They will appreciate you more. There'll be a sense of that you're worth, because you're saying, I'm worthy. I love myself. I I do deserve a happy life. Create that balance. There's a point of view that you're like, I don't know where to begin. And so we begin there. God says, you begin right where you are. You don't need to go anywhere. It's about becoming. And you might say, well, all this is broken. And God says, oh, that's good. I like the broken parts. And you say, why do you like the broken parts? And God says, I get to display my glory. So you see a different version of yourself. So all the people that viewed you as limited, not good enough, all those people that put you in a perception of that, see a different version of you. And that is how, again, you attract different people, and that's how those people pay their karma. And that's the way, again, you're able to actually heal yourself. Otherwise, you can't heal yourself. Then you just inherited this family karma of behaviorisms you've created in childhood, because that's where the trauma came from, and you haven't written new scripts, so there are no new neurological pathways in the mind. And you have to realize, living with trauma means I would live with someone that psychologically abused me, and that happens. Emotionally abused me. And when that happens, you wind up, your brain structure changes. Your amygdala swells, you begin to look for problems. So, getting a better connection to the body is no joke, because you've been wired to be reactionary, to, again, survival, reptilian mind. But God says that's out of alignment with my energy. I'm the energy of unconditional love. So you can rewire yourself. And then you might be like, well, why the fuck do I have to do this? I don't want to do this. And God says, I'm making a way for you. You don't know what you want to do with the rest of your life. You don't feel strong within yourself. You're like, I'll only broke pieces. There's nothing here. And Spirit says, there is. It's, again, if you put your shirt, it's going to look stupid. It's like, because it doesn't go that way. You can wear it that way, but it's not going to look right. It's like, and it's not going to feel right either. So there's many different perceptions. You have to begin to become someone different, to be able to view yourself different, to find yourself, to find your self-worth, where you begin to care about certain people that come into your life. You're not just going to have anyone come into your life. It's, again, of demanding respect. There's a sense of, I haven't seen that, because the way that I was talked to in childhood, now I get people like that do that to me. They just feel that they can do that. Boundary. And so for you, it's about healing that chakra the most, because once you heal that root chakra, then you can, again, feed the creativity part of yourself, which we already said is overflowing with you. It said your intuition will lead you. That's how the path unfolds, and that's how the universe makes a way where there is no way just for you, that no one can copy it, no one can take it. It's really just yours. And so there's a sense of needing that love outside of yourself, and Spirit says, as long as you act like you need that love outside of yourself, it's going to take you further away from what you want. And there's a perception of, no, I really can't have it. And Spirit says, that's because that's what you're embodying. You really didn't have it. And now you're, again, terrified of really never having it. So the focus is more on that unconsciously. So how are you going to change the energy? Well, it's through your thoughts and your emotions. And you're, again, all over the place. So that's why Spirit's saying the anxiety needs to be reconditioned. The better connection to the physical body. Does it? Yeah, it did. That's really what it is. Does healing the root chakra means feeling content. Well, it's again, you feel stronger within yourself. You feel you're not coming from a place of survival. It's like it means you have a better, you have created support for yourself. But really, support still is, I can have support, like going off to work and coming home, the basic things are taken care of. I'm not in a place of survival. That's a bland life, and nobody wants that life. That's like a, I don't really want to do that, you know? So it's the second chakra that gets affected because then it's like, I don't know who I am and I can't go with the flow of life. I always feel like I am in situations where people are either controlling me, I don't feel safe. It's like, I can't, tight ass, figure a tight ass. Why? It's like, I can't go with the flow of life. I need to control everything because I don't feel safe. I have a lot of fear. And that's what this energy was. That's what told me again about Christopher. It's like I'm coming from that. So if I am in that mindset, I can't be the consciousness of unconditional love. Trying to, right. And that's, but so again, then you're on the right path. And so it may feel wrong. You may feel like, oh, it's wrong, or I'm doing it wrong. Because in the beginning, it feels like a little bit like a child. And so that is a messy, like I said, a messy process. And allowed to be a child. So it's okay. And that is sometimes the reading is just confirmation of what you need to do. It's again, and you might be like, well, I'm doing that. And then Spirit says, do you think it's a coinky dinky that you wound up winning a free reading to get confirmation? If you're not someone that trusts yourself, well, I'm going to give you all that confirmation so you feel supported, so that you see that you're doing the right things. But maybe it's to do a little bit more. And it was also to say, well, this is also some other things that you can do. And what some other things that you could do is, again, getting a better connection to the physical body. Because how are you going to be interactive in life if every time your automatic behavior is anxiety? Because, well, it's again, I was conditioned. I overthink. The too much emotion, too much thought, too much emotion creates overstimulation. And that's what makes me not feel good about myself. And that spirit, and that's the problem with that root chakra of yours. It's again, so we want you to show up. And your best self means that you're coming from a place of the now and you're not getting triggered from the past. And this is not a thing where you feel like you can control it, because that's being a tight ass. It's like, I don't want you to be that. I want you to be able to be creative mind, the intuitive mind, the connection to the heart. It's like, but not just connection to the heart, connection to the gut, really. Because the gut is always accurate. It's always like, again, listen, you may not like this answer, but I don't really have an emotion about it one way or the other, the gut says. He's an asshole. Well, I don't like that answer. It's like the gut says, I don't care. It's like the heart doesn't, the mind will try and do whatever. The gut's accurate. And if you have a poor connection to the body, then when you're interactive in life, there's a sense of, I don't trust myself. And that's just the Holy Spirit inside of you trying to tell you, you don't trust yourself. Well, why the fuck don't I trust myself? And it's like, because you're reactionary. Am I reactionary? Because I have a lot of past trauma. And that's what Spirit is trying to say. This is where the root of inadequacy comes from. It's like, it's my sensitivity. And Spirit says, well, you got gifts from that too. You know, it's not like there's, oh, the inadequate, this is what's wrong. Prevented you from so long from doing that the anxiety, the root of it. So that root needs to be integrated. That's how you transmute that energy. You might say, well, why? Well, it brings you to another aspect of yourself. It's like new people, new situations, new experiences. Again, no one will tell you exactly where, because God says, again, I don't tell anyone. It's an unfoldment process. We can tell you elements of it, but without really embodying it, you really, again, don't really know what that looks like or feels like, because you're healing. And it's like you're blocked from actually being able to see it right now. So it's actually a faith walk, if that makes sense. But it's when you're on your path that means. So you really have to, again, trust the intuition. But if you don't have a good connection to your body because you're detached and disassociated, because, hey, well, I went through all this trauma that's not integrated, well, a servant. And it always holds the score. And so I would recommend things like somatic healing. I would recommend tapping. I would recommend doing things like, again, to recondition the nervous system. You can't live in a place of survival because you live with narcissists, or you lived, again, with people that you didn't feel safe and think, well, now I'm out of that situation. I feel fine. No, you conditioned yourself already. You have to recondition it. And so you have to look at it also through a spiritual perspective, which is, this isn't heaven. We're down here to learn. And we learn by interacting and by healing ourselves and by interacting with new people that brings us to new places and new experiences that help us recondition our mind, that allow us to see ourselves differently. Otherwise, Christopher, you will never see your life differently. And that will always make you feel as if you can't have when God says you can have. But you got to heal that first chakra. Again, you're already creative. That's not, it's, you already know how to reinvent yourself. You're doing it now. Right. It is like, right, because that's what happens when you, once you live, and there's a numbing. There actually feels like that there's a, because I'm in high mode. And so you have to watch that too, because you'll create physical issues later on in life, because you're not supposed to be like that. And you'll feel normal. You'll be like, no, normal. But then what you'll see is you leave or move anywhere where they move slower. You're like, what the fuck is with these people? They move so slow. You're like, come on all day and tomorrow to do nothing, and it's really because you're like conditioned to be like, because that's what happens with trauma. You're no longer like there. Right. And but that's what, listen, this isn't a blame game. This is a shadow reading, just so that you know. So it's not like my job is to tell you what still needs a little bit of work, but it doesn't mean that you're not doing work. I don't think anyone that winds up on my channel isn't doing work. I think that they are doing work, and I my channel to get the resources that they need, not because it's like, hey, you got this. You're like, I know what I have. That's why I'm here. But I want to know how I can achieve the best success, the best outcome for myself. What else I can do that's going to, like, really, that I'm going to see a difference within myself. So that, and that difference might be so that I can get up on stage and I don't have anxiety. It's the tools. Like I said, look into somatic healing, look into like body mind medicine, look into that kind of stuff, because you might not be. And that's really what spirit is saying, because of the over overactivity. Because then once you do that, you'll heal, because that's what's imbalanced. But if you have any questions, like I said, my job is always to tap in to tell you what is blocking you, what you need to do in order to achieve the outcome that you want. There's a person or a situation. I'm just feeling like if you feel that way about yourself, relationship, cool. Well, I think it's, again, what you grew up in an environment. Like if you grew up with drama, it's just the response. So a lot of times it's wanting to have people love you that are not capable of loving you. So you don't leave a situation, you don't get out of a situation, you keep trying to make it work. That's usually taught behavior, again, from childhood, of being too loyal, too good. So, and then, and then again, forming a lot of dysfunctional other things, but it's usually a balance thing where you don't create yourself. Instead, you get stuck in the trauma too. So you wind up reliving the same experiences and you have the same, which is just about overgiving. Well, I think that, listen, when you've created a trauma bond, which again, which I feel like a lot of times when we have root chakra imbalances, we form attachments. That's what it is. So there is still, and in order for an attachment to really be, you have to be somewhat open to it. It's like a psychic cord. The psychic cord doesn't work with only one person being open to it. Again, the ESP connection through the heart and mind. So you might be like, well, I'm not open to it, but I feel this person's energy all the time. Well, that means again that there's no other choice of focus. Your mind can't be in two places at one time. So there's a part of you that's like, I don't want to be haunted by this person, but in a way, like if they're not, then what else is going to be there? And there's also the familiarity. And like I said, otherwise you wouldn't even be concerned about that person because that person can't do anything really. They can't really invest it in your life. A person is only going to try so much to do anything. So it's about you changing you. And that tends to be like again the karmic thing too of wanting someone to change, where and that's how you contribute to it. It's like I want this person to change. I want them to be different, even if it's to leave me alone. Well, we're in charge of our own energy. So setting appropriate boundaries and doing what like and really cutting off that psychic energy. But what I know is the reptilian mind is all about survival. So if you associated this person with the only joy that you've had in even though it was full of, toxic BS, but you got some sort, even if it was just your rocks off, it was something. Well, then, your brain is going to say, nope, we're not letting that go. Your reptilian mind's going to be like, nope, we're not letting it go. And you're going to say, well, why not? And spirit will say, because your mind is about survival and your emotional survival is that I'm in the middle of a reading, so I can't answer your question. Christopher won a reading and I'm in the middle of doing that reading. So I'm not ignoring you. It's just I'm being polite to my guest that I've done reading, but I will answer any of your questions after his reading. I just want to do his reading. Um, no, it's okay. You didn't know. And I did say something in the beginning, but I got into the reading. But I will honor anybody's questions. No, you're not bad. You're not bad. You didn't know. But that's really what it is. It's that you can cut that energy. And also there's many different realities that play out at one time. So there may be a part of you that's like, I don't want this person in my life, but I do care about them. And it's like, and Spirit says, well, if they are a soul relationship, then they will wind up taking whatever you give. It set the mark. And that's the thing. And I feel like the party that's like all over the place with that, because what happens is in these relationships, when someone hurts you over and over and over again, there's still love because there's that past life karmic that it's like, we're just connected. It's like, I don't know why I love this person. And it's again, because there's a God part of self, that spirit part of self, which is unconditional love that you recognize. But then there's also the lessons that you needed to learn. And so that's why some attachments still, I know, well, that's why I'm saying your mind still, no, trying to let go, lots of reasons to still worry about them. I feel like it's not about saying that I need to not worry about them. It's like, it's to accept I love this person. And it's okay that I love this person and that this person loves me too, but they don't know how to love me the way that I need to be loved because they mirror everything that's wounded within. So they never can give me what I need, which is what I need to look at. Because on some level, why? Why does that keep happening? Because the way that you break a karmic, like that trauma bond, that psychic cord, is again not just your choice of focus. Your choice of focus allows you to like cut their energy. So you're like, listen, motherfucker, I'm not right there. It's like, I know you're right there, but I'm cutting it and I'm putting it towards myself. It's like, again, instead of you, even though I care about you, I care about myself more. That kills them, number one, because you're not even saying I'm doing it to leave for somebody else. I'm doing it for myself. It's their job a lot of times is to take your energy because they see the good. They saw all the good in you. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been with you. Only it's again, it didn't work out. It was traumatic. But that's because that person has a lot of shadows. That person has a lot of wounds. Why did they take the shit out on me? It's again because you tried to love them and you tried to love a person that wasn't capable, and there were signs beforehand. So when you asked me before, how did I contribute to it? Is ignoring the signs. It's again being over loyal, not setting boundaries, not investing in yourself. But it's to slowly do that and understand that person may come back into your life, but you would be also a different version of yourself because you'd say, oh, wait a minute, fucker. I've invested a lot into myself. And if you think that I'm just rolling out the red carpet and you're getting the same version of me, you ain't. And then you're not. Because it's like I got a new attitude. It's like literally I'm a different person. It's like, and that is if the person is like, but wait a minute, I had like a connection to you and I thought I was supposed to be with you and I really like you and I really don't want to. Well, it's again what you're demanding. And you're demanding it by not giving this person the attention that they so secretly want, their time that they want from you. Because they're like, hey, well, listen, I like Christopher to offer me. It felt good getting all that. But it's again that I didn't have to give anything. Even better. It's so they always will try and come back into your life, but then they try to replace it when that doesn't and they can't replace it. And so that's when it's like, well, they have to decide whether or not you want to take this person back because they went out to try and find again somebody to replace you, but that was like you, and they came back because they couldn't do that. Right. And that's why that happened. That's just why that happened. It's not because you were deserving of it, but because you taught this person that and you gave them the love that so much you wanted. And so from them, try to show them, but this person again doesn't. I feel like when we get karmic mates, they have the same wound. However, the way that they react is like different from us. So it's like everything may be different. If you're like someone that's like, well, I never got love, and this person was so there's a sense of they don't know how to respond to the fact that I need the emotional support, so I never end up getting it. It keeps you stuck in that karmic theme of feeling like you can't have. So, like I said, it's not that this person doesn't feel. It's like they feel it's just they want it their way, which happens to be a second chakra imbalance. When a person can't go with the flow of relationships, they don't trust themselves, they're like bored, and there's all of that. So, like I said, part of you is to become a different person and attract other people because what'll happen too is as you heal yourself, your energy changes and you attract better people into your life. That's usually when a karmic comes back too. So it's a real like the way that the universe says, fuck you to that person. Like you didn't rise up. You get to eat the karma. because this person got cocky. So it's like, I don't really have to, which is actually what is hurtful to you because you're like, wait a minute, that was a nice one. I put up with a lot. And then in the end, you're going to act like this. So now I'm feeling like that, where you're acting like you're okay. And hold my beer. Like I'm going to inspire, change a few things around. So from you being interactive, well, but you shouldn't be worried about that because even if you chose to be with this person, they would need to be taught a lesson. Being overly controlling narcissist is having a sacred right. Exactly. They can't go with the flow. Exactly. It's like showing the other that one loves them beyond the physical. It doesn't matter if you are spoiled. I'm holding. so that's and thank you guys for your comments. No. But that's why I'm saying that you have to change the dynamic of that relationship. You would actually need to see that this person was sorry, number one. If the person just treated you like crap, you can't like, oh, everything's fine. It has to be like, again, you're not getting the same version of me because that's the first version of me. The second version of me is now you're gonna have to earn your way back in. And you're going to earn your way back in because I'm going to again be giving to myself, and in giving to myself I'm going to be meeting a lot of different people. I'm going to be shown a lot of different things, which God says, well, that's your reason you need to reinvent yourself. So part of you is like, I want to just get comfortable in this relationship, and this relationship is not even a healthy one, but you're like, I just want it to work out at this point. And we've all been there. It's like, because it's like this person could be so good. And then Spirit says, you gotta, again, if you want to change the dynamic of the relationship, you'd have to do this anyway. And it's not bad because, again, you want to also change the story. You want to change the story of what has happened, like who you are, because you associate with your trauma too much, which is why you've attracted this person into your life. So in order to break that karmic loop, you have to be, whether this person comes back or you meet someone else that has the same, you have to do things differently. And what was missing was there was a lack of connection to the physical body. And really, that's not just the problem, but the physical world and family and ancestors. And that would happen if you inherit a lot of trauma from them. You'd be like, I don't really feel like I, you know, fit in. So Spirit says, well, getting better connection to the world through, again, things that connect you to the world is what helps with detachment. Because what, saying is you wouldn't be able to attract a person like this unless the trauma was that. But there's a belief that I can't have love. And that's really what this person symbolizes in a sense. And that's what our focus is like, wait a minute, I gave the best version of myself and then you're making me feel this way. They're not aware of it. They don't love themselves. So you giving this person love is like, it's that's why this goes, they don't know what you got till it's gone. Because it's like, and that's why I'm saying you have to be like gone almost for this person to actually say, you've moved on. You're a different version of yourself. Then most likely is when those people come back, where they try their same bullshit. And then it's like, because they have to see that. And then if the relationship had a chance, they would have to say, I'm sorry. Like, can we be at least friends? And you'd have to start from the very beginning and then teach this person boundaries through how you're treating yourself. Part of you is like, you cared more about this person than yourself. And that's abandonment of self. And God says, you can't do that because I live inside of you. So when you abandon yourself through helping someone else, that person abandons you. That's the karmic lesson. Where you're like, wait a minute, I did the right thing and this person hurt me. And Spirit says, because you again broke the law, which is abandonment of self, not because of you deserved it. Does that make sense? It was never going to get better. I knew that. A hard lesson for both of us. I'm guessing it was why we met, our job. I feel like it, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't any love there. It's like that you both recognized it for what it was, and long enough that you learned the lesson. It's like you like, wait a minute, like I didn't get it. And it's because you really wanted it to work. And then when you say, well, there was no reason, this person just did what they did. It's like, well, don't think that they're not feeling it. It's just you're sensing arrogance and like, I'm not going to take responsibility because those people are coming from their mask. It's like, I'm already feeling inadequate. Right, I know. That's why I'm saying, and that's but this person can't replace you, and they after the fact, but their pride, their ego, like prevents them. So understand that's their karma. 'Cause in the end, if especially if you get to go on with your life and they see you're happy, that's like, it's crazy. It's like people that don't come back and apologize, there's a sense that they want you to fail. They want you to have a bad life. So when you show them that you have a good life, they're like, actually, it forces them to be like, you know what? It's like you lost a good thing. And they see that. They know that. It's just there, I didn't want to apologize. I didn't want to work with you. I wanted to be unfair. I wanted to be selfish. And that's why I'm saying there's karma for that. And then they wind up getting attracted to someone that does the same thing to them. So, and then that's another way that they learn. They're like, well, I had a good person over here so it comes back around. But the revenge is you wind up meeting someone that's more in alignment with who you are and what you want than that person. That there was an attachment, but it wasn't it that like for this person, it was condition based. It was on a lot of different things where for you love this person unconditionally. And Mary says, yes, karmic lesson as it got repeated in the course of time. Absolutely. That is what becomes a karmic loop. So in order to break that karmic loop, because when they talk about like, oh, karmic cycles, it's like, oh, well, that happened every 13 years. It's like, what happened every 13 years? Well, if you were with a person for 13 years and then it ended and then you're with somebody else for another 13 years, it's like, it's the same karmic theme. Where I always get people that, like, I have a friend that always has people that leave her because she doesn't make any money. She always says that. She's like, that's my theme. And she came from, again, like poverty. She's very good psychic. She came from like that. And so she repeats karmic theme where relationship is going great, but she doesn't see how she contributes to that theme. So, like I said, we learn through how we contributed to it, and that's why I hope that you got that from what you can do to like transmute that energy with your person. Now, do you have any questions about anything? Like I can answer questions also on other things, but you have to again ask me because otherwise I'm just going to go towards things that need healing because I'm a healer. And there's no disgust, loathing. So again, I feel like it's about you again, also like healing yourself, about how it's all about you healing yourself now, about how you feel about yourself. Does unconditional love improve setting healthy? Well, I think that you can have unconditional love for someone, and just let me know what you see for this for my future. Okay, let me just answer this. But does unconditional love imply setting healthy boundaries? Yeah, well, you have to have unconditional love for yourself. And yes, if you love the person, you should set boundaries with a person, because you're teaching them how you want to be treated. If you're not setting boundaries, and then you're going to get annoyed that a person is not treating you the way that you would be treated, then that's your fault, because the person's not a mind reader. And, people tend to like not know, and they treat you the way that they treat themselves, or again how they treated how they treated their other relationships. So that's why I'm saying setting boundaries is really important. So that's number one. Now, Christopher, I feel like as far as your relationship, like, do you feel me? I don't feel like this person is gonna like really be any different. If you were asking me, that's why the focus was mainly on the healing. Do I feel like you'll meet someone else? Yes. Of course, that's not the problem, but it's about spirit saying doing what you were told within the channel will help ensure you to meet someone that's more on your vibration. It's about, no, that's what I'm saying, that they won't change until it's too late. It's like, and that's why I'm saying they're not all of a sudden going to be changed. It's like, first of all, they change by you changing. That's number one. Otherwise, a person comes back the same exact way that they were. They haven't done any shadow work on themselves. They haven't done any healing. They don't care. Again, part of it is that the person's selfish. They enjoy being selfish. And so they don't see, and the only way a person sees is when they have to go through consequences, unfortunately. And so that's why I'm saying there was a way of almost like survival. That root chakra imbalance with this person played out as that. It's all about me. That's what I'm saying. It's like they need to be taught. And so by you changing, that changes them, but that's a process and it takes a long time. And in that time, you would be meeting other people that you wind up liking a lot, would be treating you a lot better. Yeah, that's the thing, is you're going to. That's what this reading was about. It was about, hey, this is what you need to do in order to meet that person, because it's not, and you said that you're doing it, and then spirit says, well, then get a better connection to the physical body, because after being in a relationship like that, it was abusive and it affects us. And so, and you don't really know how it affects you. So spirit says it ensures that you get that the person that you want, because intuitively, and when you're interactive in your own life, you're able to set boundaries. No, Josephine, I'm not going to see you tonight because I have other things that I'm doing. It's like you're teaching that person I value myself. It's like I can see you, whatever you, and you're not just giving everything to the person, which you did in the last relationship. So the spirit's saying, it's like you have to do things differently to break the cycle. This isn't a problem that you don't meet people, that you're like ugly and that you don't have. Everyone thinks that you're good. You don't feel like you're good because of shit like that happened. And spirit says it's, again, that's needs to be like different. And that's why we went to the root of what healed today. It's like, it's not a question that you're not going to meet somebody. Spirit says, this is how you meet someone. This is how you cut the energy from that person. This is how you're able to like demand like respect and what you want out of a relationship, because this is how the trauma plays out within your life, and that's how it affected your relationship. I don't do predictions because again, it's like God says, it's you that like it's endless what you can create for yourself. However, I will tell you how you're blocking yourself and how it's not a question. You want to be in a relationship. You have a lot of love to give. You are a sensitive person. That you're a good catch. People don't go to bad catches. They go to the cream of the crop. It's like because they feel that bad about themselves. So that's why I'm saying. And it's like, and that's why it's again, it does take a toll on your body and mind. That's why you got the reading that you got about the integrating, the spiritual, the last part, training your body. Because from being around that, it does damage. Someone that gaslights you and someone that makes you feel that way, it really does, it changes us. Well, that's the thing. It's like that you find yourself through having a love affair with yourself. By becoming love, you attract love and all different types of love. So, is what you need. You need that emotional healing. And that emotional healing is not really through one person, which is what you're feeling. And that's why Spirit says you go up this way. You have a love affair with yourself. And it's again, there's a lot of things that you're creative in. Do things that are going to make you feel good. Your environment is what creates reality because we form behaviorisms and habits that are in alignment with our environment. So that's why Spirit's saying it's like part of you has a root chakra imbalance still. That's how the reading started because you need to do more of that. It's like, and that could be, well, I was just nervous that this person was going to come back and I had to deal with them and I don't really want to deal with them. It's like, I don't want to deal with it. And it's like, and Spirit says, but they shouldn't have that type of control over you. But they do because it's like they did a lot of shit. And Spirit says, okay, but they don't have it. So it's like a thing where you were not trusting yourself, the anxiety. So it's almost like a trained behavior from childhood, not even from now. It just activated that. And the Spirit says that needs to be healed. It's like otherwise you're bringing it into the next relationship. And you don't want to bring that shit into the next relationship. It's like you'll be teaching that person that you're like insecure when you're not insecure. You're like, I'm not insecure. It's like my body just fucking does that from like an anxiety. And spirit yeah, attachment does that. It's like your coordination will actually be off, your peripheral vision will actually be off from trauma. It's like it's crazy, you know? Right. And that's exactly what it is. It's like no one should really be able to have that type of control. It's like, and where you're allowing that person to have control. So I don't feel safe. And then we have to say, well, why? It's like, well, part of myself is still attached to this person. And it's like, and I don't want to be. And Spirit says, you have to replace that with passion. Well, they're right. It's again, they're narcissists. It's again, they live for that. They look for that. It's like they go to the nice one. They go to the person that most people don't have time. You know, you're welcome. You know, see, a lot of people got something out of reading because that's what it's about. It's like that to understand that you can actually now attention. Now, Christopher, don't be surprised if this person comes back, but they come back like in 2 years from now. Like, remember when you show someone you put up with a lot of shit and you show them how much you really love them, they think that they can come back at any time. They think that they can do again, their ego is big. So part of it would have to be that you are really a different person where you're like, no, I don't think so. You know, like they need to see a different side of you. It's like they don't, it's not, you never be like, yo, beg, you, that's not who you are. It's like, you'd be like, you know, I'm busy. Like the person would have to say, I like apologize and take responsibility. Usually I react to someone treating me badly, but when I respond to them with maturity, it builds respect. Right. Like, or if you can't respond, you just don't respond. You know what I mean? If there's nothing to respond to, if it was nothing to disrespect, it's you don't have to actually. Sometimes no respond is a better respond. It's like, oh no, I'm so pissed off. I don't know how to react. I want to get underneath this person's skin. And that would be a normal response to say, oh, it's okay that that person that I love dearly and I would have given anything to would be, it's okay. I'm over it. No, it's like sometimes you're like, no, I'm going to fuck you. Like, who the hell do you think you are? I'm mad. No response. No response, and have a happy life. There's nothing like a bitch slap that hurts more than that, because it's like this person thinks that they know who you are. You know, it's like that. Well, I think that people try to manipulate. People try and come from the facade, right? Why do we create shadows? People create a shadow because they've detached from parts of themselves. And so, where self righteous behavior comes into play, where all these other behaviorism, dealing with someone that gets triggered all the time because they haven't healed. So, they're activating all your wounds. And so, it becomes like this dynamic that not it's not healthy. Sometimes it's better to see nothing. Well, I feel like it's important to see and then also like set boundaries, because what you'll know is that nobody's perfect. Everybody has stuff. And it's so the bottom line is you don't know who comes to you too. You don't like people that can seem really good on the outside and have a lot of qualities, like that good qualities can come to you, but you're like, oh well, I don't really, you might have your guard up and you might bring out the worst in them. A lot of times you can trigger someone. So it's like there's a lot of different things, but the insurity is that you don't have to do any of that if you're taking care of yourself, meaning you're giving more energy to yourself. If there's 8 slices of yourself, that person gets a half a slice and get a full slice, because you have to, again, it's how much time, energy, focus, money a person gives is how much they love something, right? Their resources, that's your resources. So it doesn't mean that the person needs to give money, but how much time. And because people care by the emotional connection. If you're in my life for a very short period of time, what's the emotional connection that that person is giving you? If you're teaching them that you're always going to be there and you care so much and all this, then what happens? It doesn't work. It doesn't work, because what you're teaching them is, I care more about you than me. You complete me. And that scares people that don't love themselves, that don't trust themselves. They're like, I haven't even figured out my own life, and you coming in here like making me feel all this. I don't think that there is a thing wrong with age gaps, Queen of Hearts, at all. It's like my husband is 20 something years older than me. It's like, and I married someone first time 5 years younger than me. Love is love, darling. It's like it transcends time and space, and it's like I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't want to see like a 8-year-old with like a 50-year-old man, you know what I mean? But I think that there is nothing wrong with it. I think that if you don't feel, I think that that's a more thing of you not feeling comfortable in yourself right now. There's a sense of getting comfortable in the relationship, and there's a familiarity where the excitement is less. It's not as much, so you have to actually recreate the excitement, the passion, which is again the connection. So what happens is that the reptilian mind looks for a reason to be like, things are different because something's wrong with me. I know that the answer is something wrong with me, where spirit is saying the answer, there's nothing wrong with you. The answer is, again, that you feel this way about you. Because it's, again, the people, well, that's what I'm saying. So much, maybe, again, you feel that way, but then if there wasn't that much and you felt secure, you wouldn't care about your age. And it might be you're like, okay, I feel old, like I'm feeling old. Why is that? Does your body look older? Do you feel older? It's, again, like then your body is trying to tell you something, is what I'm trying to tell you. Because you said you feel insecure about being older. He doesn't care. It's like you care. You care. Right, exactly. Age is the mind. So again, and if you didn't have a problem with it in the beginning, you have a problem with it now. So that's, again, so I feel like it's, you feel uncomfortable with your body, is that there's something. Otherwise, you wouldn't feel it. Because again, if you're like, well, I'm having so much passion, this person makes me feel loved. I'm not even thinking about age in my mind, you know? Well, it's like I think that it wouldn't just be a new phenomenon. That's just my for how you want to take it. I mean, it wouldn't just come out of nowhere. It's that you feel it for a reason, and it doesn't even mean that it's real. It could be like, I just have this feeling. It's like, I don't know why I have it. So it's something that's deep within your subconscious mind. What I'm saying is there would have to be something that triggered it. And that's again, but it's saying something more about you than them. And the way that you heal that is you think it's society? I don't know. It's like, well, is it a prerequisite for this true love journey? What, like to be that way? I think that it's, again, you can have a partner that makes you feel like loved and whatever and still feel it about yourself. It's like, again, and that's, it's some weird trauma that happened in childhood that maybe you were told, again, that like women that are older shouldn't date younger. Like, again, there's stereotypes. It's, again, but I feel like people don't care. It's like if the person loves them and they're happy, I would just do more to create that comfortability for yourself, not for this person. Because I feel like when we're not comfortable with ourselves, then it can create like intimacy issues. You know what I mean? Um, that there's due too much. Well, there is. There is. I mean, and that's why you look at the models that start when they're like literally like 9 years old and they look like they're 30, right? I mean, it's like, so everything is that. But I think we're becoming a society that's trying to become a little bit more not as plastic, not as, I mean, there are like when you see like Pamela Anderson, she doesn't really make, she doesn't, and they bring it out, but it's hard on women. I feel like it's hard on women because women, it's like almost like men as they get older, they're distinguished. Women, as they get older, they're not seen as distinguished. So there's that. Yeah, like, and that where it's like, I think that that's when you have to say, well, I'm gonna then focus on like building my empire or throwing myself into uh some sort of venture with this person. So I'm not even thinking about that because it's like, it's really what makes a person beautiful and loved is not just what's on the outside. It's again for everything. And to create that intimacy, and the intimacy isn't really the bedroom intimacy. It's like, I don't feel comfortable. And so, and that, like I said, I think when you're an empath, a highly sensitive person, you're going to feel this shit from everywhere. I mean, it's like we see it everywhere. is that you jam down our throats everywhere. So it's the way to escape that is always through the passions for your life, having a love affair in your own life with this person, playing together in this life, having ventures together, and eventually you won't. It's again that because love is like all there's all different types of love too. And so sometimes like there's parts of our relationship that it's like hot and wild and passionate, and not that it's not hot and wild and passionate, but it's more like a different type of love also, that's actually deeper than that. And because it's again trust and like really seeing each other raw and seeing each other for that, and not again what we look like on the outside. But it is true, we are so bombarded and so sensed all the time that we need to look a certain way, be a certain way, act a certain way, and peer pressure. But what I found to escape that is again falling in love with certain things in my life, whether that's your drugs, whether that's you know your hobbies, your interests. It's again that's the can't be in two places at one time. That's always my answer. Does anyone have any other questions? I know that you had a question. I don't even know how to pronounce your name, and I can't even ask you because it's like this is a live stream, you know, like that doesn't have volume. But I'm like, Euthanapa. It's like I know I'm gonna say it wrong, so don't like. It's like I don't want to be disrespectful. Thank you. Like, well, I feel like I feel like a lot of birds of a feather flock together. Ooh ta pa. Oh, thank you. You did it for me. Ooh ta pa. Ooh ta pa. Where are you from? Such a unique name. India. Wow, I'm talking to someone from India. It's like it's. I'm from Florida. It's like almost like you know. Did you get everything that you needed? Did I answer all your questions? I thought that you fell off because I was like, Do you want anything else?" No, I'm excited. I'm like I said, I'm from Florida. It's like, well, good. I'm glad. And Christopher, you're welcome. Like you just want to make sure you got everything that you needed. Um, so does anyone else have any other questions? I wanted, like I said, I offer like coaching and stuff. I think you really covered everything for me. It's not like you're not going to meet anybody. And I feel like you're going to meet someone soon. I think that you've been holding yourself back, hoping that this person would change or be different. And what it is like, it's like you've come to a place where you're like, I know that they're not down deep inside. But that has nothing to do with you. It's like this person needs to like live in their facade for a little bit more. It's usually that it's almost like the universe's way of being like, you didn't rise up when you should have risen up. Otherwise, they never eat karma. And people tend to be like, how come they never eat karma? They do, just aren't seeing it. Well, that's the thing. And you can easily do that by, again, having a love affair with yourself. But doing that other, like somatic healing, body mind work, whatever, look into those things. And you can look at them through taking a course on Udemy. Udemy is Udemy. And what you'll do is you wait for a flash sale for $9.99, and you take a class that's recorded so you can do it whenever you want to do it, but you do it. That actually helps you release the trauma like within your body, helps you get a better connection to your body and mind. And then who knows, might tell you to take other classes that you feel inspired to take. And then, like I said, that will actually lead you to a path that if you got good at it, you could teach it. You could get a path that if you got good at it, you could teach it. you could again, and that give you a purpose as well and help you connect to other people that are like-minded. Saying it's like it's everything is the way that you look at it. And yes, this person will. Uh, Samadhi meditation works for me since it brings me to a place of, yeah, I feel like it's, yeah, like I feel like for Christopher though, it's a better, like it's the body mind connection. And that's when there's trauma, what happens is there's a lot of automatic behavior where it's like it's almost like, oh, I didn't know that I was doing, like it's like I don't know why I did that. It's like you getting your own way. It's like, and when you've been around someone that's been abusive, it's again it's doing that type of healing releases that, but also it you work on your breath. So within the breath gets you back into the present moment. You have time to think in the breath. It also resets the automatic nervous system. So that's why, which then is what actually gives you that secure feeling safe instead of being like, oh, I'm on overdrive. It's like, and then I got triggered and I just reacted. And then you sabotage coming from a wound instead of what's actually happening now. That's how you make your past look a lot like what's happening now. So I just think that it's again the body mind connection and releasing that energy. And yet chanting helps. We're doing a lot of meditation and working with music and some and I feel like that's helpful too. And I feel like it's again, you may be on your healer's path where you're taking all these modalities and you're like, now what am I supposed to do with this? And it's you connect to people, you like people, you're good with people. It's like, and you see where it takes you, you see where your intuition wants to go and you let it go. That's what it's about right now for you, Christopher. And you're going to meet a lot of people along the way. If that's not the issue, the issue is teaching them how you want to be treated with it still being kind and lovable and being as empathetic as you are without changing you and the way it was the way that we discussed. It's like again, because I feel like you are already on your healing. And that's a personal walk that is between you and God. And that's and you're being led. Feels right. What feels right in the mind, what feels right in the heart, what feels right in the gut. That's how you find balance. So it's again, it's happening. Well, it is. It's like finding, it's like being led through that. I've been feeling a ton younger since the relationship has ended. Yeah, that's what it is. It's like because those relationships are it's to keep you insecure. Because when you're insecure, you give me more. When you're insecure, like it's again, I have more control and manipulation. And so then that's why I'm saying, but that's not because of you. That's the way that that person needs to feel comfortable in a relationship. So they go into the relationship actually sabotaging the relationship because they're more worried about strategizing and coming from that part of the mind instead of, really coming from the heart. Feeling and you will feel younger because when there's nothing worse than when you're stressed out. Again, you're stressed out, it really taxes your immune system. Well, I feel like it's again, and it's like what Utapa said that, you know, finding the concert within yourself, being able to be led by your own intuition, being able to be led through what feels right. And that's why I'm saying it's like you'll attract better people into your life and get the emotional support that you need so that when you actually meet the person that you want to be with, you're not coming from an empty desert, where you're already thirsty and what they're showing you, you're like, oh, that's a nice tall drink of water. And you get there and it's like it was just a mirage of something. And then it's like you're getting what you want. And I feel like part of it, like I said, you didn't see it because of, what you wanted and what you desired. And it was because you weren't getting what you needed. Right, like sand. You're looking at sand and thinking, "What's water?" And it's not. You get up to it, and it's like, "Oh my God, it's just sand. This isn't that. Why did I see that it was everything?" And it's because it's what you wanted, and and it was what was depleted. Well, I feel like it's like right. Well, it's like you cared, you want, but it was like you have to say, well, why? Because you wanted that. It's like, and that it wasn't wrong to want that. It's wrong to believe that one person's going to give it to you, that you need it from something outside of you. You can actually get the emotional support by generating that yourself, by having a love affair with yourself. And this way, when someone comes into your life, you're attracting the right people. And then you're not just letting anybody come in and take, because you're like, wait a minute, either can do this where I have all these loving people around me and I get to do like all different exciting things. Or I can be home with this person that has nothing but problems and is expecting me to be their gopher, their chauffeur, their this, their that, their other. It's like one person wants me there for what they want me there for, but another place is feeding me. You're gonna say, "I'd really love to, but I can't," because it's like I'm gonna go where it feeds me, where it feels good. If the person really likes you, they're gonna change. But it's not because you said change. It's because you said, "I don't give a shit what you want. I'm gonna do what I want. And what I want is to make myself happy." And so when they see that they can't manipulate and change that, if a person's not on a high enough vibration, they'll fall right out of your life. Otherwise, they'll change because they say, "Well, I like you and I like the life that you have, and you have all the ingredients, and and you're not going to change. You're not going to not do that. And you actually have too much support to change, because if you all of a sudden didn't show up to, uh, let's just say, I was going to say the baking sale. I don't know why, like, because I don't feel like you bake. It's like went to like a music place and I was playing jamming out. It's like, I don't show up there for a few weeks. Well, they're going to come looking for me. People are going to come looking for me and be like, "Where are you at?" And then whoever I'm with, they have to deal with my people, because you met me having a full life. You met me having support. You met me. So there's a lot of other people that have their eye out on me, and you have to treat me a certain way. And because this person, meaning you, already knows, first of all, what it looks like to be loved and appreciated, because I can see, again, they get love and appreciation. Second of all, why are they going to be with me if I'm not going to give anything in return? And third, fourth of all, you would say, "Why am I going to keep this person in my life? You don't make me feel good." It's like, "You're replaceable, motherfucker. I got other people over here." It's like, because I'm interactive, and Sally at the bowling alley every time I go wants to hook me up with Mary Jane, and Kathy. Kathy has two teeth in her head, but it doesn't matter. She's fun, It's like that I have options. It's like, and some of those options are going to be good, and some of those options are not going to be good. But anyway, I have options. Hello, Tinkerbell. So that's why I'm trying to say for you. I have a question. Do you think I'm overdoing the participation? No, not at all. I don't feel like it, but the thing is I can't read as fast as when I'm channeling if I'm talking. So if comments are coming through and I'm not reading them, it's because I'm not really seeing them at the same time. So I've been trying to keep up with that chat, but I don't think so. I like when people participate and ask me questions, because I've been answering everyone's question. I mean, Christopher didn't have really any other questions, but he's asking questions again through just the fact that everyone's chatting. Sometimes when you're like, "Okay, do you have any other questions?" The person's like, I have questions, but I can't ask any questions because now you put me on the spot. So I don't have any questions because you put me on the spot. Now I'm overstimulated. But then if you're having a Q&A with other people, then it's like, oh shit, I have a question now. It's it's only because, hey, the focus was off of me. I get overstimulated, and I think that Christopher gets overstimulated. So that's why take other. It's what happens. It's like if you would have asked me, it's like again, you're making me put me on the spot, and then it's like I'm getting overloaded because I have a lot of emotions, and I probably have a lot of questions, but I don't even know where to begin. It's like because you're dealing with again a very emotional, I had feelings for this person, they hurt me, they did harm to me, so I have, so when you ask me, I'm overloaded. But that's why I've been trying to take other questions, because it's like, listen, um not all the time do I do these type of readings live, but if someone won a live, I'm going to like do that reading, and then whoever's on it, I'm going to answer questions as courtesy. Right, it's put in the spotlight. It's like, so, like, it's like, will you come on, Christopher, and take the mic and tell everyone what questions you have? It's like, wait a minute, like, it's like, let me closure. It's like, because it's a lot. Like you said, overstimulation when we care a lot. It's like, and that's what what we were really talking about, because when you get overstimulated, you don't feel good about yourself, because then you're like, well, I feel like I just reacted, and then I'm over analyzing how I reacted, and then there's all that. So it's a way to like cut that. And it's irony, because most people would be like, well, I just wanted to know what was going to happen. And it's like, for me, I like try to explain like why it did happen in order for you to help you stop it from happening. Because if just because it happened in one relationship, it'll continue to play out in other relationships, which is what really creates that neurological pathway. That's really what staples in that core belief of, I really can't have it. And really, you can have it. It's like, you're like, no, no, seriously, I can't, because this is how I experience this. And that's just because you keep doing the same thing. It's that that's all that is. Do something different. And that doing something different is scary, because it's like, well, it's like, I know I need to do something different, but I'm like nervous. And then it's also, why didn't I do? And then what you're realizing is it's like all because of overstimulation, anxiety, and like hypervigilance, which happens after a while from that anxiety. And then when we continue to live that way for long periods of time, it really taxes our immune system. Then all of a sudden we have sensitivities to a lot of things that we didn't have sensitivities for. And it's because you were on overdrive. I think twin flame process doesn't happen for everyone. That's number one. I think a twin flame relationship does happen. I don't have a lot of questions about the other person. I don't think she's going to be better off without me, but not well, yeah, I feel like you're coming to like the process of it. And that's, like meaning like you want, and that's why I'm saying in the end, you are not the one that's going to suffer, because you're like, I actually don't have a demise. It'll actually go back to unconditional love, because that's all I had for this person and I learned. However, you know, you've learned from it, meaning like, this is what I did, I won't do it again. Where I feel like a twin flame process comes into play, where like two people really want to change, and they really feel that they can't have certain things from the traumas that they went through. And I feel like the traumas that they both went through in childhood were the same, meaning like both parties might have grown up in an alcoholic family, or in a family that maybe not was alcoholic, but a extremely codependent relationship that was toxic, that was a trauma bond. So they never was in love. That love they were taught came with conditions. Both parties learned to navigate their life certain ways in order to survive. One person became very logical and analytical, and they became like good fool and good with the left brain things, where the other is more intuitive and right brained and creative. And so what happens is that, yeah, so one could have like a very bad disconnect from father, where the other can have a very bad disconnect from mother, where the trauma came from father or the trauma came from mother. So again, the twin flame mirrors those traumas where the person with might have felt, both parties felt uh, not worthy, not good enough, shamed a lot in childhood, and not just shame from what they did, but also shame from the inherited karma and then the behaviorisms that came from that inherited karma. So if you had parents that had addictive behaviors, it's not uncommon for children to not be as grounded, right? Because they're too busy. So um, person may again have learned how to survive through that left brain, but didn't incorporate the right brain. So they always studied, they read a lot, they did things by themselves. But the other person had no was a socialite, learned how to make their way through being grounded. So you have the halves of two halves, and it's not that you have actually two halves of a person. It's just where there's blocks on one, there's gifts that the other has with the twin flame. That's why together they feel as if they're one person. Now, through the act of passion, it's like, because a twin flame, there is passion, but they're also, in order to transmute those wounds, they birth something together. They create something together. Why? Because they're on polar opposite sides. They're opposite. So what really Spirit's saying is, it's like, I'm helping you integrate those spiritual blocks through unconditional love. Because when flame is like, I love this person, but they trigger the fuck out of me. It's like they awaken every single last one, but I can't walk away from this person. And so with that, it's like they meet each other's wounds as well. So through the act of unconditional love, they both love. So it's like, can it happen? It doesn't happen for every single person in every lifetime. No. Do you need it to heal? No. But if you are, yeah, they're on opposite sides, they're polar opposites, but they have the same wounds, which means one person has a very, again, masculine traits and very good in this part, where the other person has very feminine traits. So their approach to life is different. And so their approach to life alone can trigger each other. So that's why I said it's very paradoxical. So it's that you're learning that unconditional love, there is no expectation, there is no ownership. It just is. You can't control it, because with the twin flame relationship, you want to walk away a lot. And both parties that have wounds usually are like, well, I want to control this, meaning it needs to look a certain way, it needs to do, and Spirit says none of that's going to happen for you. It's, again, you're learning what unconditional love is. That's why it looks the way that it does. And then you can turn around and say, well, I don't want to be with this. And then you get your nose off to spite your face, because it's like there's so much passion and there really is so much love there. So we have to come to a place of surrender, and surrender in order to find spiritual equilibrium, which is balance within ourselves. Because when we have wounds, we're like, I'm not balanced. I'm like, I'm pissed off right now. This person's making the Spirit saying, you got to get back to a place of surrender, spiritual equilibrium, and that's through the passions for life. You're codependent. Both parties grew up in that codependency. Again, and partially it was because of how society was. Another part, it was just because, again, they grew up in that, so it was inherited. So you're breaking family karma, but what you're breaking that family karma is of attachment type of love instead of unconditional love. So again, it's not easy because we all have an idea of what we think that love is supposed to look like and that way, just so that you know. And what you feel like, well, I didn't get emotional support, so I'm looking for someone to give that. It says, no, you're actually getting someone that's emotionally not intelligent. And then you're like, well, why the fuck would you give me someone that's emotionally not intelligent? Again, if I didn't get more, Spirit says because you want it from a person. It's not going to come from a person. That person will help bring out why you're blocked and doing it for yourself, though, because they're not going to do it for you, and that's going to make you do it for yourself. And then you won't need it anymore, and then I'll bring you someone that is emotionally going to give you what you need. But before then, no. You're like, well, that's fucked up. And God says, no, it's actually the way that you learn. What is ancestral healing here then? Would it change our parents? No, ancestral healing is that you're breaking the habits and behaviorisms that created the undesirable karmic experiences that your parents lived. As I said, growing up in a, like, one parent is an alcoholic, the other person's doing everything, is emotionally void, like not getting what they need, but they're together. That's a codependent attachment type relationship. Codependency is where one person is able to finance up the storm, and then the other person, like I said, emotionally never gets anything because their needs are taken care of monetarily. And then so that what happens is the relationship becomes very compartmentalized, where it's like, well, this is where cheating tends to come into play, meaning, well, I'm with the person, but like I don't emotionally get what I need, and I emotionally don't want to get what I need because I am taking care of this person, so I feel responsible. They don't bring anything to the table. They're not their own person, and so in that it's all on me, and then it affects the passion, and the passion is mainly through, again, the unique individuality. That second chakra is our unique individuality. We can go with the flow of life through the passions of life, and that center is the passion for life. So it's that codependence is that two people are not able to actually do that because they are too consumed in the relationship, where one is always emotionally not getting what they need. So they're always focused on the relationship to try and emotionally get what they need, and the relationship to get what they need. And the other person's kind of checked out, but they pay all the bills and they do whatever. So in that, what you're doing is you're born into now like a family like that through the family dynamics. And part of that was society, because back in the day, women didn't work. They were like told, you're not allowed to work. You need to stay home and raise your children. So everything was all on uh, the so-called man of the household. And so what's happened now is now everyone works. And so there needs to be like, but however, there's people that can't afford to live, even though that they work. So there's a sense of, I really can't take care of myself. This is where the attachment, that belief comes into play of I really can't do it, or I can't have the life that I want, where, like I said, it creates the dynamic, but with that attachment, it creates a lot of problems because then, if you're in attachment codependent, you're not creating yourself and you're not evolving. And if a relationship doesn't evolve and it doesn't grow, it dies because it needs to be more than just about sex. And see, a lot of times in these relationships, people rush in because they're very attracted to the person and they don't have enough of who they are. They haven't created enough of who they are. And they're like, oh, well, figure it out. But the problem is that the dynamic of the relationship, like I said, becomes affected. So you breaking the family and ancestral karma is that you're doing things differently, that you created yourself, became happy. And it's also meaning that our jobs was not that we just went out, got educated, figured out what we were going to do when we were 10, I'm exaggerating, but like 14 is like really insanely young with the rest of our life. That you are made to continually evolve and reinvent yourself, and that money has no energy except for the energy that you're giving it, and that's through the passion for life becoming the vibration of unconditional love. So you're attracting those things to you, otherwise there's a continual lack. So again, we were taught by that. We were taught by society, and that's why, again, without this divinity in self, the divinity in self is a God part of self, which is a supernatural part of self that's intuitive, that is that creative part. And that the money really comes from letting spirit work through us to create. So the more that you do something, the more that you love something, the more that you put towards something, it's how much love you put towards it, it grows. And then the universe also conspires to bring you more things that are going to be in alignment to help you achieve your goals, to help change you, evolve you, mold you, that you never have to actually look for it. As long as you're interactive, it will come to you. Your intuition will say, there it is. Like I said, most people don't live that way. So their life doesn't evolve, and then they look for that happiness and joy and that permanency through a person or situation. So that is, like I said, what the difference is between alignment. Evolve you, mold you. Yeah, like mold you into the person that you're supposed to be. It's again, and that this way you're always able to evolve and change. Otherwise, the moment that life would get difficult or there would be a problem, there would be nothing to help you get through that. You wouldn't be able to go with the flow of life. You're able to go with the flow of life because you're being led by your heart and your intuition and your gut. And yeah, then if you logically think about it, it all makes sense. It's like otherwise it doesn't make sense. And that's why I'm saying the way that you continually break ancestral karma is to become yourself, to heal yourself. And that inevitably helps you to reinvent yourself. So you're seeing something different. And your habits and your behaviorisms are built on who you are today and what you want instead of the traumas of yesterday. That's the difference. What do you mean? I run to daddy. Run to daddy. I'd run to daddy. Like, I think the answer is always to, like I said, become yourself, because it's very difficult to just change habits and behaviorisms and stuff like that. It's like said, it's a continual process. Does anyone have any other questions? I've been on for almost 2 hours and I still need to do videos for the channel. I meant being codependent. Well, it's again that we break codependency through interacting. I'm actually finding the road was on before I allowed myself to be divided. Well, that's what'll happen too. It's like you'll see and like you're able to pick it back up. Yeah, utapa. I'm gonna remember that from here on out. You're welcome, Chris. You'll have to let me know how it goes because, like I said, it's gonna happen. You'll like one good thing about when you heal trauma, you can never go back into the same type of situation. Once you've given that much and you got hurt, it's like but you just can't be like, I just can't do it. It's like you see the signs on the wall and you're like, I just can't do it. Quick, 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 because I have to go. I've been on for almost 2 hours. So ask your question so I can go. I have to take care of my husband. I need to eat. I've been on a fast, trying to lose some weight. My parents are so stubborn, they don't realize that if I leave and don't give a damn. So I feel like, again, they feel there's a part with your parents that like you still need me. They still have to deal and look to their own BS. Okay, yes, I'm good. Have a great day. Thank you, Christopher. Thank you, Queen of Hearts. Thanks for supporting my channel. Um, I appreciate you guys a lot. Um, well, I feel like the way that like your parents, like a lot of times you have to leave. Like, unless you show your parents something different, they're not going to treat you different. So, and that's not because of you. That a lot of times it's just anxiety. You're welcome, Gwen. Gwen, did you have any questions? Because I didn't answer any of your questions. Did you at least learn something from today's live? Thanks for sharing your energy with me. Like, I appreciate you. That's the thing. It's like people are like creatures of habit. So the thing is, it's like to be like change, 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 change. They can't. What changes is that you need to change. And part of that is to really go away and to like make your money and do what you need to do and then like, show them a different life if that's really what it is. If you really are like, I can't live with these people because they keep on treating me this way and doing a certain thing. It's like it doesn't matter that they're family. It's that they were trained in certain environments. They believe there's nothing that you're going to say or do that's going to change their mind, especially if you're their kid. They're like, we have your best interest at hand. Even if you're like, you don't have my best interest at hand. They're like, no, no, we know what's best. It's like, you're just going to be in a power struggle with them. But know that they're coming from a place of fear. They're coming from a place of fear being like, we don't trust you, but we don't trust you because we don't trust ourselves. So it's again, you can't do anything with that. The only thing that you could do is prove them different, and that's set boundaries. But it's also, if you're like, well, I can't move, then it's to again throw yourself into hobbies and interests so that you surround yourself with people that are going to be supportive to you. And then if you're interactive in your life, doing working and doing what you need, the resources that you need to help change your life will actually help change your parents' perceptions. Meaning, when you're interactive in life, you're getting the resources. So let's just say, like, oh, every Wednesday I go to the bowling league. I've been looking to move out of my apartment, and so Mary Jo came by, and she's a horrible bowler. Like every time she bowls like horrible. Anyway, we were sitting there waiting for our turn, and she told me she had an apartment. And then with that apartment, it's again, I told her I would rent the apartment. And it's like, again, whatever you do, you're interactive. Otherwise, you can't, hey, Jay, like, otherwise, you can't do it. Like there's a part of you, it's again, I feel like not just to be active in doing all different things, but maybe again, really being interactive where you're going to meet kind of the same people. Like it's again, relationships are something that happen over time. So, and to really change your life. Otherwise, if you're just looking for your parents to change, they're not going to change. And it's not because they don't love you. It's like that's the way that they are. Again, but if that's your entire life, then it would definitely bother you because it's like, well, it's like that's with 24 hours a day, and it's like I'm tired of it, and it's hurtful, whatever. So then spirit says, well, then you got to fill your life with other people and situations because they're not going to change. What'll change is the way that you react to them, and then eventually they'll deal with you differently too. Because a lot of times when you be like, I don't really care what it is that you like. You don't like the fact that I want to weave baskets for a living. I don't really care, but that's what you don't, but you don't like that. That's what I want to do. I get joy out of it. I'm doing it. And what happens is they're like, oh my God, like this person like is like weaving baskets and they made $3,000. Look at all these people that are, life happens, which actually changes the perception of your parents, where it's like, well, we only had your best interest at hand, and it's from what we grew up with, from what our life was. And then you might say, well, why is this happening? And then Spirit says, so that you grow strong within yourself, so that you become yourself. And it's again, it's the way that our parents learn. They learn through us because they love, us. Your mother and father love you in spite of what it looks like. They love you unconditionally. So you're obviously going to care just the same way that you're like, well, this really hurts because it is my mother. Exactly. I'm not going to make it the neighbor that you don't really care about. It's like, oh, the guy 5 doors down from me, I died of a heart attack. Oh, that's sad to say that he died, but there's no real emotional connection. No, I'm going to give you the person that it's going to affect you, so that it makes you look a certain way at your life. But understand, it's not, a lot of times it's to break away and become your own. And that's difficult to do, but it's something that you have to do in order to make it stop. I wish I could say that they would change, but people don't change unless you, like, again, change yourself. And in that, it's like I said, it's not to punish, but that's the way people learn, showing a different perception. And that's what your parents would say. It's like, I didn't know what you were doing. I was confused about what you're doing. We had your best interest at hand. The issue is that we take it that way, like, oh my God, what say that? It's that they only know from their life. That's why I'm saying. Does that answer everyone's questions? I'm starting to get a headache. I need to eat. Been on a fast. I gotta lose 5 pounds. I got fat. I got chunky. Rest, well, I'm not gonna rest. I need to eat, Jay. I need to eat. I got a steak in my head right now. Like, my stomach is going. But does anyone have any other questions? If not, I'm going to wind it down. But I will. I want to thank everyone for supporting the channel. Yeah, I'm going to eat. Well, I thank you for joining me today, Jay, and everybody else. Yeah, and I'm gonna need practice with your remembering your name, because I gotta block when it comes to names. It's like, okay, gotta go all the way up here, like Utapa. There we go, Utapa. There we go. I'm gonna have to practice that so that I say it correctly. I want to thank everybody though for being on, and I really appreciate you. Keep playing, write the word in the video in your comment bar, and hopefully you'll get a reading next. And I'll see you guys on again soon, because I'm picking people every day to do live streams. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna eat. I love you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.